Entering the Mayo Experience.
Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, presented by DraftKings. Week 18 NFL Best Bets, the final week before the playoffs, obviously, because we got another 6 weeks of the NFL to go through. Reminder to smash the like button to the episode, subscribe to Mayo Media Network, and the gigantic one and done pool is almost full. So if you do want to get your spots, go to fantasygolfchampionships.com. $125 per entry for the year. It's like $4 a week, although you don't pay it weekly. It's not an installment plan. You pay the $125 up front, $50K to first place, $35K for second, flat payouts all down the line. You can have up to 5 entries. And if you already have 2 entries, at least 2 entries, you screenshot those to me at the PME on Twitter. I'll put you in a draw for another entry, a free one at that. I got 4 of them to give away on Monday's golf show with Jeff Feinberg. So go check that out right now. Additionally, if you want more betting content, head on over to thehammer.bet and go to the Hammer HQ YouTube page. You can find more of me, Rob Pizzola, and Cam Stewart over on the Forward Progress channel. Fellas, we have to address the elephant in the room here. We were 0-8 with picks.
No. Cut his mic. 0-7 and a push. And we're not going to get into details. The Bills were my final pick. That's a push.
So 0-8 and a push.
So 0-8.
0-8 and a push.
I just didn't. Yes. I just didn't count the other game.
Okay. Yeah. Pat. I'm sorry. Actually, you know what? You continue. You host the show. That was probably historically the worst week in our history.
It was a pretty rough week.
Good week for the Faders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had been quiet for a little bit, but now there's
now they're back.
The storm is a brewing. It'll be like the score chat all over again, Cam.
Yeah. Score chat. Oh, am I getting my money back for my Bills bet? If he dies, do I get refunded? What about my props? What about my futures with the Bengals and the Bills? Honest to God, you people, this guy's almost dead. If there wasn't emergency people there, the guy could have died. And you're talking about your bets. I had Cook, the running back. He was already at his number. It did. You know what I'm saying, Pizzola? Who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares? We're going to bet every day anyway. It doesn't matter. Don't worry about your stupid little bets. Life will move on. You'll continue to, like me, to gamble for years and years and years, and this will be nothing. Get a heart, you jackass. You fucking little pieces of shit. Oh, yeah. Is he dead? Do I get my money back?
These guys are too much, man.
It's unreal. Have you seen some of this stuff, Pizzola? I can't believe this stuff is real that I'm reading.
I mean, I make the same mistake as you many times where, I'm waiting for the app to refresh and I just, scroll over to see if somebody maybe in the chat can provide some wisdom as to what's actually happening in the game. And
wisdom.
Unfortunately, I learn the same thing every single time. Yes.
Basically, you know what it is, Pat? That chat is Lucifer's ball sack. That's what it is. Like, if I could think of like the people that are in that, like no human. I don't even know who these people are. I don't think it's real, Rob. Some of the stuff that I read, it's just it's actually, I do it just to get a take on humanity, to say, you know what, I'm not perfect, but at least I got a heart.
Right.
There is a non-zero chance that none of these are real people. They're all just bots, and they're specifically designed to get you to go onto that chat and be like, what the hell is going on here? I'll need to check back like in 2 hours.
Good call, Pat. Some are bots, but bots don't smell like I want to bang your mother. B-A-A-A-A-A-N-G-G. You know what I mean? Like, they have certain things that you could tell they're just uneducated, like fools. But I do agree. I think there is a certain percentile of bot. The only bots I like are the ones I cooked in high school in my buddy's car. Keg party!
Rob, when you are a professional betsman like yourself, and we were talking about this a little bit off air, I think that people don't realize that sometimes you don't win.
Sometimes you lose like 15 games in a row or 20 games in a row. Like, I've had the worst runs of my life, which, sometimes here's what I'll say. People don't realize the likelihood of going like 9-0 or 0-9 on this show, but I don't want to say that we're all coin flipping, but we're very close to coin flipping, right? And if you were to flip a coin 9 times in a row, there's going to be a small percentage of the time where you're going to get 9 heads in a row or 9 tails. That just tends to happen, right? And it's tough when you have weeks like that. Like, I look back at the picks I had last week. They lost, but not only they lose, they lost and like they never had a chance to win. And then I personally had a terrible week on top of that, where it's like I couldn't really have even swapped anything in or out because I still had a horrible week regardless. So what are you going to do? I mean, at that point, just move on. I mean, it was Morency that always said, like, only rock stars live in the past, right? He always used to say that all the time. It's time to move on, Pizzola, right?
It
like,
is.
We're not rock stars. We don't live in the past. And it is. I mean, it's time to move on. It's time to get a 9-0 this week is what's going to happen.
Hey, it took an 0-8 week, Cam, to drop us as a collective below 500 for the year, but we are now below 500 for the year overall on the picks. The silver picks are still pretty good, despite going 0-3 last week, but we can turn it around in week 18, get back above 500, and go on a heater in the playoffs. What do you think about that?
I like your attitude, Pat. You have always had a good attitude. You're very optimistic, not just bright, with your editing techniques and everything else that you do. Yeah, and here's another thing. Yeah, Rob said this stuff. The NFL, it's also crazy. And I'm not to make excuses. I was horrible too, Rob, last week. Like, even my backup games, like, I ended up changing some picks too. And I know, like, people don't understand. Like, I'm doing a lot of different shows, right, Rob? I'm on, like, the Fan 590 show now and doing some other stuff. And, like, the Saints became one of my favorite bets. But that's after I woke up on Sunday and started thinking about the game. Like, I don't know, my thoughts change from when I tape something on a Monday to like a Sunday, but it's no excuse. We were brutal last week, but we'll do better this week, Pat. I like your optimism.
Yeah, I'm here for it. And listen, as Rob kind of pointed out, and it was kind of the same with all of it. I think all of our gold picks, I think someone, when they were making fun of us, which, go for it.
That's fair.
We're not going to, it's not like
Last
we didn't record the show, give out the picks. We know what the picks are. And I have money on the game, so I can look at my bank account or my gambling account and see it go down.
You know what I love, though, Pat, on Twitter, where they're like, hey, a clean sweep.
Reverse sweep.
Yeah, reverse
it's
sweep.
like I need a reminder, guys.
Oh, yeah,
like,
yeah. Thanks, guys. No, what, you don't think I document what's happening here? Like, it's just, guys, I just love that stuff. It's just okay, thank you for the stating the fucking obvious. I appreciate it.
The thing is, we actually bet these games, right? Like, I don't need a reminder of when I had a losing week, right? Like, I know I'm watching the games and I had a losing week. Like, it's,
hey, Rob, nobody says thanks for the Orlando Magic that I gave them last night. You know what I mean? Everyone's, Oklahoma City Thunder, they beat Boston by 33. I give out the Magic. Yeah, they cruised the whole game. Not a word. Tumbleweed. Right?
Listen,
the minute you lose the game, hey, man, these guys suck.
Okay, good. I did.
Whatever.
I made one NBA bet last night. The second time I bet, I'm 100%.
How'd it go?
It won. Minnesota money line. They beat Portland by 7, as it turns out.
Yeah, I had a great night. I had a great night in the association last night. Oh, what about hockey? Devils puck line. I think I'll take the Minnesota Wild over Tampa Bay. Win. All crushing it, and then I get on tweets, direct tweets. Ooh, yeah, you guys are NFL. Hey, I bet other sports too, turkeys. Anyway, let's look. Now we got to fire it up this week. Now we're pissed.
So and just kind of to double down on what you said about picks changing throughout the week, I gave out the Chargers -3 as my super lock on the spread show on Tuesday. Since that has happened, we have found out that the time of the game is now no longer at the same time as the Ravens game, which is now back on the board. So the Bengals will play the Ravens earlier. If the Bengals win that game as 7-point favorites, then the Chargers legitimately have nothing to play for. So now they're a 3-point underdog in a game where I thought that they were going to go out at least for a half or 3 quarters and try to win the game and beat the shit out of Denver. Well, that's not really the case anymore. So you know what? The Chargers no longer my gold pick.
You got it.
But it's so dumb that those games are not at the same time for
Agreed.
one.
Agreed.
But also, why not just have the Ravens game be later so that it's not an 11 a.m. game in Denver? I looked at the schedule this week. I'm like, what's going on? Nothing makes sense. Listen, I've talked about the Green Bay Detroit Sunday nighter, right? And do I think Detroit is going to lay down for Green Bay if they're eliminated? No, but it's an advantage for Green Bay regardless, because think of a situation where, let's say, Jared Goff rolls his ankle in the first quarter, right? The guy's got another 2 years at $30 million coming up. Do you think they're just going to throw him right back in the game and be like, all right, Goffy, let's go. Let's throw you back out there on an ankle injury? No, they're going to sit him down and say, you know what? The game doesn't matter to us. So that's where the advantage is built in that there's a mindset of okay, we don't need this. If Aiden Hutchinson takes a hit and he's dealing with a hip injury, are they going to say, let's get back out there. Let's throw you back out for this meaningless week 18 game.
I like you. No. I like how you called him Goffy, like Smitty and hockey guys. Okay, Goffy, get out there and get me a hat trick.
I didn't even realize I did that, to be
honest
honest with you.
No, I like Goffy. My morning cup of coffee is going down quite well right now. I can throw some more Baileys in it, but I like it.
Yeah, we all
I'm with
could.
you. Here's the NFL. You guys said it. Like, nothing makes sense with these guys. Like, I'm an absolute stooge, and we can put the schedule together and do this stuff. It's just there should not be competitive advantages, but anyway, that's just the way it works.
The one thing that makes sense is the dollar signs. Green Bay, Sunday Night Football, that's where it needs to be. Like, why they would never put Tennessee, Jacksonville on Sunday Night Football, because as the average fan probably realizes the importance and the stakes of that game, but they flex it to Saturday. They screw over the Jags in the process because Tennessee has like a huge rest advantage in that game as well. Like, none of it makes sense. None of it.
Well, the one thing about Green Bay to put them into that game, I think it's both, Rodgers based, Green Bay based, they can make the playoffs, and obviously Detroit can too, maybe as we get to Sunday Night Football. But I think that they knew that regardless of what happens, Dan Campbell's playing to win. So that game is going to be competitive either way.
Yeah, listen, like, I think that's a very high likelihood that Detroit's taking that game seriously, win or lose.
Agreed.
So, like, Seattle wins earlier on. Lions, they've already prepped for the week. Campbell is that type of coach. But like I said, there's other things that factor into the game, right? Like, it's not a true must-win game for them anymore where quarterback injury, any sort of injury, like, they're going to just – the mindset is going to be like, okay, this really doesn't mean anything in the grand scheme of things. Like, we're not going to force our injured players back into the game type of situation. So there is a little bit of an inherent advantage for the Packers in that spot.
So my first pick is actually going to lead to that Sunday Night Football game because I think that will be a win and you're in game because I like the Rams plus 6.5 against Seattle. I think there was a smoke screen with Seattle last week playing Mike White, who I don't know, maybe has 8 broken ribs because anytime anyone breathed near him, he had to get rid of the ball. The guy could barely throw. And all of a sudden, Cam, this is your favorite team. You watch them. It made their defense look kind of good. And I have a theory that their defense is not kind of good. And that the Rams, well, they're not very good either. Their defense is competent. Everyone on Seattle is hurt, essentially, on the offensive side of the ball. And the Rams defense has still come to play just a little bit, and Cam Akers can run it on them. Like, I just see this being a field goal game. Seattle might win, but to cover the 6.5, that's a lot.
I agree. It's a divisional game. The Rams, they looked awful. They've also looked good with Baker Mayfield in this game. And I'll tell you one thing about Seattle. Yes, Pat, I'm very happy with the season, but they've regressed. For me, it would be Rams or nothing. I think Seattle wins this game probably between 1 and 4 points.
Perfect. That means a cover. So lock that one in as a gold pick, Rob.
I'm going to lock it in as my gold pick as well.
Oh,
I'm matching you on this one, Pat. I like this quite a bit. So we see this phenomenon in the week 18 or the final week of the NFL season a lot, where these teams that need to win to get into the playoffs are historically brutal bets. And that's not to say that Seattle can't cover, but we're talking about decades worth of data now where these teams hit at like a clip of 35%. And because there's like this built-in, buffer here because of the motivation. The Rams is a divisional game. There's nothing more than they'd like to do than upset the Seattle Seahawks and kick them out of the playoffs. So from a pure motivational angle, I think people overrate the win and you're in type of situation. I don't know what's happened to Cam Akers, but like this guy's had the resurgence of a lifetime here. He looks really good. Akers is one of 14 running backs that's run the ball 100 times since week 11. Among those 14 running backs, he's first in success rate, 5th in yards after contact, 4th in EPA per rush. He has the second lowest rate of runs for 0 or negative yards. This is a huge difference maker for them, especially because the Seahawks lost Jordan Brooks, who is tied for the team lead in run stuffs this year. Very good on 3rd and 4th down as well for them. And the one thing that Seattle just cannot stop, there's a couple things actually, but they're dead last in receiving yardage to running backs on a per target basis, and they're dead last in receiving yardage to tight ends on a per target basis. And that's all that Baker Mayfield does. Go back to Christmas Day when they smoked Denver. He's just checking down a running back, get it out to the tight end. I think there's a good path to success for the Rams in terms of their ability to move the ball on the offense. Do I trust their defense? No, I don't. But this is a pretty inflated spread, in my opinion, just based off the fact that Seattle needs to win. I mean, for crying out loud, they almost lost to John Wolford a few weeks back. I know what Cam thinks of backup quarterbacks. He probably thinks Wolford will be in the Hall of Fame someday or something like that. But, let's call it out for what it is. It's an inflated number. I like the Rams here.
I'm not going to say anything of the sort. I just said John Wolford has been with the Rams organization in a long time. And I'm not even going to say he's good, Rob. Okay. He's on the roster.
He's got to be. If you're not saying that a backup quarterback is good, they need to be god awful.
Yeah.
Oh, I did want to run this by.
I don't love every backup. I don't love every backup. There's backups that I think suck.
I brought this up on a few shows now, and the reason that I was on the NBA bet because I was on the Mayo Media Network show on the Better Sports Network, which you can download. Yeah. It's Nando and Corey Parsons who host that show, but it was just Corey. Nice. It was just Corey yesterday because Nando's off on paternity leave. Shout out Nando. He sold me on the Timberwolves money lines. The only time I ever bet NBA is when I go on with Corey and he tells me to bet NBA. I was going somewhere with this. No, I brought it up with them that as it pertains to Carson Wentz, that if Carson Wentz was your backup quarterback, Cam, where would he rank on the backup quarterback scale? Like you go into the year, you have your starting quarterback, and Carson Wentz is your backup. He is for emergency circumstances only. There's no quarterback controversy. There's nothing that say like he's going to start. Like if he was Arizona's backup, I feel like he'd be one of the best 15 backup quarterbacks.
I agree with you, Pat. And Carson Wentz is horrible, but I will apologize on the show. I'm always jacked up with backups, but a lot of the time I'm actually using it from the point of guys haven't seen a lot of them. They usually play well early and then water finds its level. It's like the old saying, Pizzola, right? They come out there and, they're grinding for a while. And if they're in there for a few weeks, then they'll start to suck. I'm just saying, you're right. I've given the old Barry Horowitz to so many backups, but they're backup quarterbacks for a reason. I know Chris Strevler, he's a third string quarterback. I know he's one check and he runs, but you know what I mean? That's why he's a third or a fourth string quarterback or was on the Jets practice squad. But I'm just saying a lot of these guys I like because they're grinders. And when they get in the game, they'll battle for you. They'll take hits. They'll do other things, slide for that first down. I'm not talking about more of a skill set. I'm just talking about more of a competitive angle. So I'd like to apologize for picking up a lot of these backup quarterbacks.
There's no need to apologize. I mean, Cam, I've known you for almost 20 years. You like the underdog story. That's like since I've known you as a bettor, you love to bet underdogs. You like, the big take back on the plus money on the money line. That's who you are by nature. And the backup quarterback is the underdog story. It fits your persona. So it doesn't surprise me. I just think sometimes we got to we got to pump the brakes with some of these guys. Like Gardner Minshew's a good backup quarterback.
Yes, he is.
There are guys.
I will defend Gardner Minshew because he actually can get into a game and win you a game consistently, and he's done it. That guy's fine.
Right. Like Nick Foles. I mean, that guy
need
to be taken.
I can't believe this guy won a Super Bowl. That is the most shocking thing to me. I watched this guy even play at Arizona. Nick Foles is not a good quarterback. I don't know. The Eagles, they ran a perfect plays for him, a scheme. It wasn't on Nick Foles. That was on their coaching staff, coaching a perfect game with trick plays and everything else. Nick Foles is god-awful. He's horrible. Mm-hmm. Shouldn't even be in the league. Yep. I agree.
Glue factory.
Oh, so
your gold pick.
You got. Oh, God, yeah. You guys both took the Rams as your gold pick.
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't see this one coming. First of all,
listen. I'm not trying to root against the Seahawks, Ray. I don't want this to be personal.
Fine.
I hope
they're not going to win. If the Seahawks just win the game, it's fine. I think they're going to win by a field goal. You guys cover your bets. That's all I care about, right?
I just in full disclosure, I also bet the Rams money line.
Oh, that's fine, Pat.
So did I.
Pat, I don't talk to friends in years, and we do a show together, and you gave me a box of Omaha steaks where I haven't even talked to people in 5 years. They don't even know where I live or anymore. Hey, how you doing? I appreciate it. And by the way, they're thawing in my sink right now. I can't wait to take a big bite of that baseball steak and sandwich. I'm going to lather that. Oh, it's going to be so delicious. Anyway, gold picks. I'm going to take the Tennessee Titans as my gold pick. We got it earlier. Pizzola, I know we don't buy points on the show or anything, but when 7 click, I'm getting 6 right now. So no, taking the number that's on the screen, everybody. No, not tricking anybody with a 7. We're taking a 6. I think this is Tennessee's game. I know they haven't won in months, but asking Jacksonville to cover a big number, I think is a problem. I like the Jaguars personally. I don't like the Titans, but this is about a bet. Derrick Henry's going to be healthy in this game. I think Vrabel and the staff will do enough. This is going to be a grind them out game where I think Jacksonville can win by a field goal. Asking them to win by a converted touchdown, I think is very, very troubling. So I'm going to be on the dog in this spot. I think Tennessee actually shows up. I think they can win this game outright, and that's what you have to think when you bet dogs. So I will take the 6 points with the Tennessee Titans against one of my friends. See, I'm apologizing for backups, and I'm betting against a feline.
But you're betting on
Happy New Year.
You're betting on a backup in Josh Dobbs.
I don't care.
I'm not saying, but like you're betting on a backup as well.
I don't mind Dobbs.
Yeah, okay.
There's worse out there.
Yep.
Just run the ball and make a couple plays. You're right. I'm dealing with backup quarterbacks.
Anyway,
give me Tennessee +6. I'm not changing.
I'm with you. I like Tennessee in this game too, Rob. I'm going to guess you like Tennessee. Everyone I've talked to likes Tennessee this week.
Well,
that's a problem.
It's getting to the point where you might, Cam's right. Like we've seen the line move down from 7 to 6, and it's going
to go to 4.5 by the time this kicks off.
There's going to be a buy point on Jacksonville eventually, I think, for a lot of people.
4.
But yeah, at this price right now, I mean, it's Tennessee or nothing for me as well. I'm considering this for my mineral picks in a week where it's very difficult, I think, to come up with some good picks. But overall, like, forget about what you've seen out of the Titans recently. A lot of that doesn't matter. They've had a lot of injuries on defense. They purposely rested players last week so that they'd be healthy for this spot. You're going to get the full complement of the Tennessee Titans, with the exception of maybe Treylon Burks. That's who I'm looking out for. He has a groin injury right now. I expect he'll try to play regardless, though, in this game. I agree that I actually think Dobbs is an upgrade to Malik Willis. I don't know how anyone could not think that, having watched Malik Willis throw the ball this year. So I think this line should be closer to 4.5. I agree. I think that the Titans have enough talent on defense, especially the defensive line. They get Danico Autry back. Against a Jags O-line that, I mean, they're without their left tackle and Cam Robinson for the rest of the year on IR. They haven't really been tested with that yet. They didn't get tested by Houston with that last week. So too many points. I agree. I'm riding some Jags, tickets to make the playoffs and stuff like that. So I'm kind of torn on this game, but I definitely would take Tennessee.
I was thinking, because I have Jags to win this division from before the season started. All of a sudden, two of my biggest futures have come into play in Week 18. Jacksonville to win the division. I've already been paid out on the Bears alternate under, but Bears' number 1 pick is all of a sudden back in play as well. Are you going to hedge out any of this, or just go with it?
So I tend to not hedge out unless I feel...
This is a good spot, though, for like the money line on Tennessee, if you wanted to do it.
It is, but... And the reason it's a good spot, though, is not because they're an underdog. Like, yes, I get that, but also because I think Tennessee's a valuable bet. Like, I don't want to hedge out and take something that I don't think is a valuable bet to hedge out of a position. I know I'm trying to explain this as best as I can, but when you're hedging, you want to also take another valuable position. You just don't want to do it for the sake of hedging, right? To guarantee yourself some money. Now, to each their own. For me, this is not going to be life-changing money. If Jacksonville, wins I'm not going to lose. I'm not going to go to bed angry on Sunday night or Saturday night if Tennessee wins the game and be like, I should have done this. I'm just going to ride the position. I have a bunch of other futures in play this week. I have the Steelers to make the playoffs, which I bet 5 weeks ago at 16-1, which all of a sudden is like in play, but I like the other side in the game. So, I mean, it's Week 18, but I'm letting most of these positions ride. Yeah,
and the one thing that people forget about hedging, and I'm guilty of this too, and so there are some times, and I mean, I feel like I bet, I'm sort of like a hybrid of both you guys. Like Cam, I know you like to bet with like emotion and things like that, and I do the same thing. Like if I'm on a bad run and I got a golfer in a playoff, I'm like, fuck, I need to win somewhere. I need a W somewhere. I need to get some money back in this account, and then I'll hedge. But the thing that I always forget about in the moment when you're hedging is you're essentially just paying the VIG twice, aren't you, Rob?
Exactly.
Know what it is, Pat? Know what it is, Pat, too, and I want to explain myself. I know I don't have computer models and stuff like that, but when I assessed this NBA game last night, I did it through basically my own computer in my head. I said the Oklahoma City Thunder beat Boston by 30 friggin' points with a backup team, and they played the game of the year. And on a back-to-back, they're going to Orlando, a team that was beaten up, who's also going to have backup players in the game. Now this team has to take their show on the road feeling good about themselves and whatever. That's why I smashed Orlando last night, and it worked out. It doesn't work out all the time, but betting is not just about models and whatever. It's about situations and understanding what's happening, and this team is going here, and a young team, like they'll play good one night, right, Rob? And then the next night you go, this is a great situation. This team's on a back-to-back, and everyone thinks that they're great because they beat Boston. Well, reality check, Oklahoma City Thunder, you're not that good. You had one good game, and now you feel good about yourself, and Orlando's going to punch you in the face, which they did. Anyway, that's how, like, I don't have the model. I just use situations, and you're right, Pat, I am a very emotional guy.
So I tend to incorporate that stuff into the model. So for me, when I model sports, right? If I think something is meaningful or valuable, I'm going to test out that impact in the long run, and I'm going to include it in my for me, the goal of sports betting is to
how
try
do you
to
put
make
it into the model? Like, what's that called? What's the
so it's like a situational analysis.
It's a recipe, right? Like, so what do you call that ingredient where you're just saying situation? I guess what do you
depends.
call it?
So like there's tons of situations that matter in sport. In the NFL, for example, bye week, extra rest, short rest, coming off of consecutive home games, three consecutive home games, there's tons, right? So basically I run the data on all that going back for as many years as I think is valuable. And whatever the impact is on the game, it just gets automatically included in my number. For me, my goal as a bettor is to take my emotion out of it. Because when I used to bet myself and bet on emotion, I did very poorly. And I lost a lot of money. And I was going and handing envelopes to bookies all the time. So my goal was to get out of that mindset. And that's why I stick to numbers. But sports betting for me, or for everyone, does not have to be the exact same. So, exactly. And the same goes for hedging, right? Like there's going to be people who are out there that are pro bettors who'll be like, oh, you should never hedge this, because technically there is some math behind how you should hedge your bets. But for me, I always tell people it's a matter of personal preference. Like I'm not going to ever tell somebody don't hedge this bet, and then they're going to lose and going to go to bed depressed, right?
Let's just call this out for what it is too. This pro gambler, somebody can call themselves a pro gambler and be one of the worst gamblers like I've ever seen in my life too. That's another thing. Too. Like, yes. Give me another. I love this. Oh, he's a pro handicapper. Really?
Well, pro handicapper is a little bit different. Pro handicapper is someone who's probably selling picks to sustain their, like they're not betting for a living. They're selling picks for a living. Like you're right though, Cam. Like people misrepresent themselves in the space a lot.
It's ridiculous.
Yes.
I know guys that suck like for years and years and years. Oh, I'm professional. Sharps versus dulls. Like I just shut the fuck up. No. Make your picks. Do it your way. I agree, Rob. You need data. You also need situational gambling is basically my thing.
Yes.
Or I'll use another example. New Mexico in college basketball is 14-0. They're playing Fresno State. That's a 500 team. The line's dipping. Everybody's on one side there. You know what? I'm going to take Fresno State. They won outright. It doesn't happen all the time, but I can tell you more times, Rob, when you see a bait line, you're either going to take the team that people aren't on, or you know where I'm coming from. Look where money's moving and stuff like that, and try to cap the situation. Why is this number the way it is when it should be something else? And people fall in. I still fall in these traps. That's the thing. That's why I'm not living on a golf course. Sometimes we overthink stuff, but right, Pat, you got to look at the numbers sometimes, and sometimes it works in your favor, and other times, like, you look smart because you're like, I'm on the right side here. I knew the casino would win this game.
Or I mean, you do what I did last week and just walk straight into one of these dummy lines like Washington -2.5 last week and just be like, how are the Browns going to cover this game? This seems stupid. This should be like -5.5. No, they're going to lose by 30 points.
You got Wentz. You got Wentz last week.
I did get
Wentz. Sure, seriously. I don't want to see Prince Harry throw another football for the rest of my life. Like, Wentz, just take a seat.
And you also got Rivera, having not even known.
What? You don't know where? Well, hey, Ron, you're limited. What? Riverboat. And another thing, you can't call somebody. I call him too because it's fun to say, Pat. The guy made 1 4th and long call. Oh, Riverboat Ron. He goes to the casino with a big
By the way,
wallet.
with Cam Newton, the best short yardage quarterback in like the history of the NFL.
Hold on. Who do you think is
opposite?
Who do you think is the best short yardage quarterback in NFL history, and why is it Tom Brady?
Well, it is Tom Brady because he runs a sneak at such a high percentage.
Yeah. But how do more people not run that sneak? It's like
because jackasses are set up in like shotgun positions. When you need an inch, you just lean forward. When you got a tall quarterback and a good line, it's not rocket science. Rob, you put that into his model.
But
Stop
also
overthinking.
Also, Brady is smart and he'll hurry to the line in short yardage situations. He won't let the defense substitute. He'll catch defenses. Like it's not necessarily he's like the most athletic and like best sneaker. He just situationally understands the situation. Okay, it's short yardage. I'm running up to the line. We're going. And like the defense doesn't even have time to react. But Brady is definitely like he's run the sneak at such a high effective rate for such a long time.
Yeah, it should be called Lifeboat Ron instead of Riverboat Ron, because when you bet on that team, like, you're off the side of a cruise ship and you're praying that sharks don't bite your inflatable as you die sitting there. Riverboat Ron, like, I don't know how you get an MO for like guy makes one decision in his life to go for it. Like, okay.
Well, like there's the report. There was the reports yesterday that if the Dolphins miss the playoffs, they might fire Mike McDaniel, which I think is a false report. But I'm like, what? Like, look around the league. Look at the people that coach in this league. Like there's Ron Rivera and Josh McDaniels. Like there's people who are brain dead, and you have like Mike McDaniel, and like it's so dumb. But like how I really wonder, because Rivera tried to backtrack off that, but I think he actually made the switch not knowing. Like, I think he switched to Carson Wentz, not knowing that if they lost the game, they would be out.
Well, that's why you have an assistant coach who taps Lightbolt Ron on the shoulder and say, dude, Wentz is 100 times worse than Heineken over here. Let's put one in the glass and get him back out there. You owe nothing to Carson Wentz. Your job is to win football games. And that's the problem with these guys. They're stubborn as hell. They're old and stubborn. Even me, Rob, as I'm getting older, I'm trying to adapt to new things. And you know what? Little tricks and hacks and whatever, like we have to adapt. Like I've even adapted in my caveman gambling styles and techniques and stuff, right? You got it. Like, I don't understand how, like, oh my God, you're a coach of an NFL team. You should know every scenario, back, forth, front. You know what I mean? And hire a smart guy on your staff. Like,
yeah, but here's the issue now that if you hire one of these smart guys on your staff and it doesn't work out and you don't win games, you might get fired, and then that guy might take your job, because I'm pretty sure Jeff Feinberg is now the coach in Denver.
I think he could do a better job than Nate Hackett.
Well,
I'll take Jeff after 30 Crown Royals and like a super spliff over Nate Hackett any day of the week.
Who is their coach now, Rob?
His name eludes me. I'll remember it in a second.
No, not Parks Fraser. He's the offensive coordinator of the Colts.
Jerry Roseberg is the new
Roseberg.
Jerry. Everybody's talking Jerry.
Oh, too bad
Jerry.
It's too bad we don't have Carolina against Denver this week. We could have Jerry against Steve Wilkos, and then
I would
the ultimate
Carolina
revenge game.
Honestly, if that game was in Carolina, I'd go to an ATM and bank them if they were like laying under 3 to Denver at home. Saying.
I mean,
fading Roseberg.
Yeah. Roseberg. He's not a play on guy, Rob. I don't think. I mean, have we done what mineral are we on? I don't even know where we are right now. Like, are we on silver? Have you guys made a pick?
I have not made a silver pick.
Wow, we're really. Sounds like we're a bunch of old ladies with at tea time here. Tea crumpets and some stones, just babbling away. Okay.
We might as well talk about the silver picks then. Rob, do you have one to start one off?
I do.
Ooh.
And I'm going to take a page out of the Cam Stewart playbook and hit up a backup quarterback. I'm taking Jarrett Stidham and the Las Vegas Raiders.
Love that pick.
Plus the points.
Love it.
Against the Kansas City Chiefs. Do I know if Stidham is going to be able to repeat this performance? No, I don't. However, what I do know is that the Raiders have played a shit ton of close games this year. This is what they do. It's like the reverse Raiders from last year, where the Raiders last year won all these close games. Now they lose all these close games. Aside from the blowout loss against the Saints in week 8, where basically like a third of their team had the flu in that game, they've played a bunch of close games. They haven't had a game decided by more than a touchdown. The Chiefs, I mean, it's kind of getting into narrative territory now, because I don't want to say they never blow out anyone, but even when they win by margin, they look very unimpressive in doing so, like against Seattle 24-10 a few weeks ago. But they nearly lost to Malik Willis at home. They have had trouble beating the Broncos by margin a couple of times. They beat these very Raiders at home by 1. I just don't think, I think this is an inflated number. I really can't get here. I think this is a very high possibility that KC wins in a close game in this one, but ultimately I was impressed enough by Stidham last week to say that the market is, I think, like overreacting to the drop off from Carr to Stidham. Like, if you think about Las Vegas went to KC and they were a 7-point underdog on the road at the Chiefs, and now they're getting more than a touchdown at home. And I know it's a meaningless game, but it is a home game against a division team where you can prevent them from getting the number 1 seed in the conference, possibly. I think too many points. So give me the Raiders in this game. Hold my nose on Saturday and hope that they keep it close.
Now, you kind of brought up a key point, and I'm just very curious about this. And Cam, I'll go to you on it, where he says that when you look at the ATS record of the Chiefs, it's not very good. They're not winning by margin, and even when they do, they don't look super impressive. We all give them a pass for this because it's Patrick Mahomes, it's the Chief. They go to the title game every single year. Is there a chance they're just maybe not all that good?
Yes, there is. They're okay, but they're not great. They don't have the explosive plays that they had before. You can beat them up. Actually, you know what the funny thing is? The Colts had the recipe, I remember, on an old Sunday night game where they just beat the living shit out of them by running the ball, and they wore them down. And that's the thing. I think a lot of teams can do that. Like if the Chiefs met a team, like if Tennessee had better parts and were healthier, I think they're like a nice matchup there with Henry, just a pound. I think the Chiefs are a good team. Their numbers are overinflated. Pat Mahomes, I don't know. He's the new Tom Brady. You touch this guy, the ref. Hey, Pat. How you
know
doing?
what? I feel the opposite watching Chiefs games. I feel like the league is allowed to hit Patrick Mahomes more than any other superstar quarterback I've ever seen.
Are you kidding me, Pat? No. And I don't like Russell Wilson. What they did to him in that game, they were body slamming him and stuff. And then get up.
You can't penalize your own team for hitting you and not helping you up. That's not a penalty.
Anyway, I think Mahomes gets away with murder. We agree to disagree there. And I know what he's got, like him and the refs, they love this guy. I don't know what it is. I'm just saying I see other quarterbacks, they're getting smoked, they're getting stepped on, and the ref doesn't even players reaching for his hand, whatever. Mahomes is like my new commercial, anyway, that's just me. I think Patrick Mahomes is an awesome quarterback. I think he's wicked. I think he's a cool dude, but I'm telling you, he gets the benefit of the doubt from the referees all the time, and he's always in their ear. Pat, that guy never stops talking now, and they listen. Just saying.
Hey, if they would listen to me, I would never stop talking either. But Rob, does it just boil down to if the Chiefs are down by 3 or 6 with 45 seconds left and Mahomes has the ball, you just feel like you're fucked if you're against them?
I think that's part of it. Like one of the best bets in sports, in my opinion, is the live bet on the Chiefs when they're losing. There's like an intangible factor that Mahomes has where it's like almost like you feel like it's inevitable that it's going to happen. KC doesn't win by but like KC has a plus 109 net points on the year. That's more than the Bengals. Like they're like they look unimpressive a lot of times, but I think the biggest contributing factor for me, and I'm never going to suggest that teams mail in games, by the way, I'm not suggesting this, but there's been a consistent theme over the course of Andy Reid's career where they do go with like a very vanilla playbook.
Good call, Rob.
In some games where they just don't like to, like they save the shovel pass and like these trick plays and stuff for when they need them. And other teams don't necessarily do that. They bring out like a gadget play on a weekly basis or whatever. So I think that contributes a little bit where sometimes you just look at KC and you're like, what the hell are these guys doing? Like, why are they handing off to Pacheco a million times in this game or whatever, but ultimately they're really good and they have the best player on the planet right now. So it's very tough to bet against. And one thing that I will say about the Chiefs as well is their defense is underrated now. Like for years they were terrible and it was like an Achilles heel. They've gotten better against the run this year.
I would agree.
And like, it's a little bit, that's not to say that like a team can't put up 40 on them. It's the NFL. They can, but people don't give the defense the credit that I think that they deserve because for years, Kansas City had this miserable defense.
Good calls.
Do you have a silver pick, Cam?
Be honest with you, Pat.
No, pass. No. Okay,
pass. I'd like to pass on basically every pick this week. I can't really say I'm rattled, other than like going to be putting my my chompers through that steak you gave me. Okay, let's go. I got to come on, Cam. Just do what you do. Hopefully it works this week. Give me the Cleveland Browns against Pittsburgh as my pick. I know I'm just going to disagree with a lot of colleagues on this game and everything. Pittsburgh, they're going to beat Baltimore or whatever. Cleveland, I know Deshaun Watson hasn't been great, but you know what I mean? This is the last game of the season. Cleveland, Pittsburgh hate each other. I think Cleveland can do some damage with Chubb in this game, and they will do enough. I'm getting 2.5 points. I think Cleveland wins this game by 3. It would have made it probably a pick 'em, but I know the Steelers are getting a lot of love with that defense right now, and they are fantastic. But hey, Baltimore could have won that game. I'm just going to take Cleveland, Pat. I think they win the game, so I'm getting 2.5. I think Cleveland wins this game by 4 points. They historically also, the last few years, played Pittsburgh very tough. Remember, they blew these guys out and stuff. It's not all the same people, but I will take Cleveland Browns. I think everyone's going to be on Pittsburgh this week. I want no part of it. I want Cleveland.
If I had not included the Browns in any of the mineral picks this year, I'm pretty sure as a collective we would be above 500. I don't think I've got
I
them.
agree with that.
I don't think I've got them right
and
once.
the commies. The commies
So
killed
what's
me
your
and
feel?
the Texans. Commies, Texans, Browns, like those are guys we have problems with right now.
Agreed.
They're all going to cover this week. Watch.
So we need to know what Pat's feel is on this game.
I like
because-
obviously I like Pittsburgh.
So there we go. This is good
Yeah,
news.
but
for
but
Canada.
I'm not going to include Pittsburgh in my mineral picks.
What do you like, Rob?
So Pittsburgh is what I was talking about, where I think Pittsburgh's a bad bet purely because of like the need to win factor, which now it's not super reflected in this line. Honestly, it's not like this is some inflated line where it's Pittsburgh -4 because they need to win, but there is like a little bit added pressure on these teams in the final week of the season that need to win. I make this game Pittsburgh -1.5. So I lean towards Cleveland in this game. If it was 3, I would have 100% used the Browns in my mineral picks because needing Pittsburgh to win by 4 to win a bet is pretty bad. A lot of these wins in this recent streak have all been by a field goal. That's the concern for me. But I will say, I did watch Cleveland and Washington in full on Monday this week, and Deshaun Watson had a very good second half. Like
Good.
actually looked really good in the second half there, was hitting Amari Cooper on some big plays. A lot of it was yards after catch, but I don't think there's much separating these two teams. So I agree with Cam on this one. I could only bet Cleveland in this game.
Oh, there's so many other things that I'm kind of leaning to, and they're all, Pat, as we talked about, people that have, basically we've given them loans and they pulled out a gun from their pants and put one right in the back of my head. Like Houston, that's a team, like, honest to God, if the Houston Texans didn't exist in this league, you know how much money I'd have? They've cost me like $8,000 parlays, but I couldn't hedge out of them because the games were like that team is killing me, but I kind of think they might beat the Colts this week. You know what? I got to stick with Cleveland Brown. I think they're going to win this game. So
Okay.
I'll take them.
So for my silver pick, now that it's popped up on the board, I was actually thinking Bills -7 against the Patriots at home.
I love it too.
Yes.
It just
Agreed.
the Bills should be regardless of any circumstance surrounding the Bills. They should be like 14-point favorites against the Patriots. They kill the Patriots.
I'd say
The
10.5.
Patriots get like, I guess with the exception of Cincinnati a couple weeks ago, like anytime the Patriots play a good team, they get smoked. Like the Patriots are not. They're like the team that's going to beat up on the bottom feed, not even beat up on them. Like they'll win the games against the bottom feeders. It's just obviously the dynamic with Buffalo this week, which is a little bit concerning. But I'm floored that the number is 7. Honestly, think it should be way higher.
Agreed.
So I might end up getting around to that one the more I think about it, because that's not necessarily a fresh line, but it's been dropped in the past 12 hours or so. I bet the Panthers money line, so I guess I should take them. Although I've lost the hook on the game. It's down
I
to
love your pick, Pat.
I
love Paul Panther. He was almost made my list too. I had the Bills on my list. I have the Panthers on my list. I like. Let's just pick the right one. I think the Panthers can win this game. Like I don't trust the Saints as a favorite. Carolina, they were hanging with Tampa Bay.
They should have beat
that game.
They should have beat. They should have beat Tampa Bay. And the funny thing about it was like
God.
I mean, it's good for me and my Tampa Bay futures going forward. I mean, the moment that Cuss declared them dead in the first half against Arizona, they haven't lost since.
Yeah.
Just pointing that out. And now they're going to beat Dallas in the first round.
Tampa Bay almost won by accident last week. And what I mean by this is that I bet Carolina +4, full disclosure, a little bit of bias here for everyone who's listening. I'm watching that game on the couch. My wife is sitting next to me. Carolina scores a touchdown. I think they went up by 2 touchdowns when they scored. And I'm just there and I'm like cursing. And my wife's like, "What do you do? I thought we were cheering for Carolina."
Here's a tip. Number 1, you want a gold selection? Don't watch football games with your girlfriend, because I'm snapping and she's thinking about money being lost. It's like, honey, you got to go watch that show with the captain on the boat upstairs there.
Oh, Below Deck.
Below Deck. It's her favorite show.
Listen, I don't want to have any funny business with you and your girlfriend, but I'll watch Below Deck with her. I love Below Deck.
You know what? And I'll give it a chance too. I really like the sea captain guy who really looks like a captain whose kid like passed away of an overdose. He's actually my favorite character on the show. She made me watch it a couple of times. I think some of the people on the show are like, if I worked with them, I'd probably like get arrested for assault with the way they talk and treat people. But anyway, Yes, Pat, I like Glorious Destinations, and it's not that bad of a show. But when I'm watching football, she's more angry than I am that I'm not winning, and it's affecting my mood. And then she snaps, and it's just a big problem. So you know what? I go, honey, as long as I don't have a lot of money in the game, we can watch it, but don't be upset. It's just one of those things. It's just she's got my back, and she doesn't like when I'm not doing well. So that's why we don't watch it anymore.
I think definitely like we're at our worst when we're watching our bets. So I get where you're coming from with that standpoint, and it does like. My wife is good about that. Like she's not going to needle, but she asks.
My wife don't needle. My girlfriend asks a lot of questions about how much money do you have in this game and stuff like that, and that's what I don't want to talk about.
She asks me who we're rooting for, is what I tell her. Who are we rooting for? And I tell her, and then she sits and she cheers for those teams. But she doesn't know when things are good or bad.
Yes,
or like she hasn't experienced what us bettors have experienced. So Carolina goes up 2 touchdowns, and I'm like, oh my! And she's like, well, I thought we're cheering for Carolina. I'm like, you don't understand. Now Tampa Bay has to throw the ball. Yeah. They're going to come out and they're just going to keep throwing for the rest of the game. This bet is cooked. And she's like, no, they have to win by 4. I'm like, Diana, I've watched football my whole life. This bet is toast.
Oh.
And like, you know,
me and you are different people, Rob, but this sounds like the exact same conversation I have. Yes. I'm winning a game by 17. I'm like, she's like, what's wrong with you? Like, you're sweating, you're freaking. I go, I'm done. I just, this is not, watch this other team come, boom, get one flag touchdown. I go, we've seen it all before. You feel like heartburn, like that sense that we're doomed. Like we're in big trouble right now.
Well,
excessive sweat and stress.
This happens to me more in golf season because I usually have the kids and like my in-laws will be around, my wife will be around, and I'm like sweating someone to try to win. And I'm living and dying with every single shot from every single golfer. My wife can't really distinguish between which golfer is which. She doesn't know who any of them are. So at least in football, you have, hey, there's the red team and the blue team. We're going for the red team. She can't figure out like who's who when it comes to golf because they're showing 8 guys back to back to back shots. And I'm like tilting my ass off for any of them. Like someone will stick it right next to the bench. Like, oh, that's good. It's like, no, that's horrible. It's the worst thing that could have happened. And I seem like a lunatic. And you're right though. Because then I'll be like, yeah, well, if he wins, I win $4,000 on this golfer. And then she'll like, well, what are we going to do with that $4,000? It's like, well, I need to get back to even first before we start spending this money here for the year.
That's another thing. Every time you win a big bet, it's off to a quality steakhouse. I wouldn't mind keeping some money. Like, what about all the times I lose? And I'm like, you know what? I'm going down to the Sizzler or buying 88-cent tuna, looking at Dollarama and actually considering buying escargot from Dollarama. Should I try this product? Can't be that bad. It's in a can. Anyway, what else was I going to say, Pat? This is my problem with the show, and it's my problem, not yours or Rob's. I find it very, very hard to do 3. For me, it's like 6. I almost want to do like 6 every week.
It's okay. It's okay. You can still bet 6 games.
Okay.
Yeah. You also didn't want to even do a silver pick today. You wanted to do 1. What are you talking about?
I got to be honest with you. No, because as I said, and you guys know, I repeat myself. I know I'm totally in the wrong. Everything's the same to me. Like, I like the Bills as well as you guys.
Yep.
I like Cleveland.
Yeah.
Heck, I even like the Commies again. But
sure, why not? Let's throw it in.
You know, I don't know what to do. I like the Saints, Pat. Like exactly what. Sorry, Carolina, as you were talking about. It's just hard to narrow it down, and that's my problem. I got to just be fixated, saying this is the team. Stop wandering, and stay focused. That's all.
Bronze picks. I have this narrowed down to. I said the Bills -7. I really like. I kind of like the Falcons -4 against Blaine Gabbert and whatever jabronis the Tampa Bay rolls out. It's still tough for me to get there with Desmond Ridder in this Falcons team at -4. One that I was looking at, and I don't think I've heard anyone be on the same page as me, which actually makes me feel kind of comfortable. And I have a weird logic for this game, but I like the Giants +14 against Philly. Only because, Saquon says that he's playing. I don't know how long these guys are going to play for, the starters, if they play at all. However, one of the reasons that I've been making the case for Brian Daboll, and I've seen other people make the same case for Brian Daboll for Coach of the Year so far, is mainly due to the fact that he has Saquon Barkley and a bunch of practice squad players on his team. So if you take out the practice squad players, who are your starters, and replace them with practice squad players, how much worse off are you going to be?
It's true. And the backup's Tyrod Taylor, right?
Yeah.
Who's there as well.
Giants fans got very, very mad at me when I said that he was 80% Daniel Jones.
Well, Daniel Jones,
I like Daniel Jones a
The
lot.
Giants fans have a let's say that like they don't remember the Daniel Jones of past, right? They only remember the Dayball has done something with Daniel Jones where he doesn't turn the ball over like 3 times a game anymore. He can get the ball out quickly. They utilize his strengths, which are
He's
his
Josh
legs.
Allen light, man. That guy in the open field, dude. The guy runs like a damn gazelle.
Yeah, but there's
He's a wicked runner.
Yeah, but there's a big difference between, I mean, just even the talent level. You drop Daniel Jones on basically any other team in the league, and he's benched already. Like, Daboll's done an amazing job with this offense.
No,
As you
Daniel
said,
Jones is good.
I don't know about that. When the Jets sign him next year, see how fucking good he is.
Well,
And
when
he's
the
good.
Giants sign
He's
him to a
good.
4-year deal, like in the offseason, they're going to regret
He's
that.
got no weapons there. The guy's got
Sure.
wicked feet. He's getting better. He was horrible, Pat, but he's getting better and better and better. And if you give the guy a real team, he's good. I know what? I know you guys come at me with my backups. I will defend Daniel Jones. I think he's a decent quarterback. He is fine.
Oh, look, he's got. They should, if they can get him on like a 2-year reasonable deal, I'm all for it. He might be like the 17th best quarterback in the league. He should be
Better
a.
than that.
I don't think that. Do you want to go through it again?
Like,
Are we playing this game now?
If
We'll
we're
do it
going to
on
do the
another
no
show,
weapons
but-
argument, like we got Patrick Mahomes throwing to McCole Hardman and Marquez Valdez Scantling, like the no weapons argument, I think is played out. We could do this again, by the way. We can.
I do
this
not
again.
wanna
It's
do-
going to end the same way.
I just think it's very indicative of the system that they've put in place, as you said, that emphasizes everything he does well and limits everything he does poorly. It's a fantastic situation. And in that situation, he can be good. I'm not disagreeing that he's been good this year. All I'm
Where
saying
do you
is
guys
that
rank Geno Smith
I would rather
as a quarterback.
Like, are we talking about if we had to sign someone to like a 4-year? I wouldn't want to sign either one.
No,
of
I'm
those
just
guys to a
saying, like
4-year
in the
deal.
starting court, like what's his number, in your opinion?
It's between 15 and 20.
And Daniel Jones is way better than that guy.
No, he isn't.
Way better.
No, he
oh,
isn't.
yes, he is.
No, he isn't.
Yes, he is.
No, he
Yes,
isn't.
he is.
Yeah, when Daniel
Yes,
when
he
when
is.
Daniel Jones emerges 10 years from now as a backup on Seattle and has a good year, we're gonna have the same conversation all over again.
I love you, Patrick, and it was so nice of you to give me a Christmas gift. But I really like. I think Daniel Jones is. I think he's fine.
So Daniel Jones
When
had
I-
the 11th best EPA per play in the league this year.
Ooh, that's not too almost top
However,
10.
I will say that I think he's as close to his ceiling as possible right now. Like, I think at some point, people start to pick up on what the Giants are doing. Usually this happens over the course of an offseason. Daniel Jones and Geno Smith to me are honestly pretty interchangeable, I think.
Okay, fair enough. No,
But, okay, would you rather have Daniel Jones or Goff, Cam?
I like Goff.
Don't.
I like Goffy.
You do.
It's
And when
Pizzola's guy, yeah.
when we went
Goffy.
through this, we had him at number 16.
So
I don't know, Goff. It's just it's a soft spot in my heart for it. No, I can't win. I'm going to my court with Lionel Hutz, a smoking monkey, and a bad briefcase. You and Pizzola are walking in with clear documents. I'm just saying, I like Jared Goff. I think he's had a great year. I just think Daniel Jones is going to continue to progress, guys. I think he's very dangerous with his feet, which a lot of quarterbacks don't have in this league. He can run and do a lot of things. He can improvise, and he's slowed down on the turnovers. Maybe I'm overrating him.
Put it this way. I think that he's fine. I think that maybe he can get better. Like you said, I think he's in a fantastic situation at the moment. I personally don't see a huge distinction between Daniel Jones and Sam Darnold.
I think Jones is better.
I think I think Jones is better too, but if it's the difference between 2 years, $50 million for Daniel Jones or 1 for 7 for Darnold, give me 1 for 7 with Darnold. He can do basically all the stuff.
I mean, Darnold has I think Darnold sucks.
Okay,
But
if we're gonna look at the EPA per play, look at Darnold's this year.
No, it can't be good. Pat.
It's
You
really.
don't want me to.
I want
You don't want me to go
to.
down.
I want to know what it is.
Okay, so I'll have to now filter by quarterbacks. I mean, how many plays do we think Darnold? Let's go any quarterback in the league that's played that's had 100 dropbacks.
Yeah, okay, 100 dropbacks is probably good because he's played what 4 or 5 games.
Oh my God, his
Darnold-
EPA,
he's top
his
10.
EPA is very high.
Yeah, it's top 10.
It's third.
Yeah, he's been
Sam
excellent.
Darnold's not bad.
But the thing is, he is bad. That's the whole
He is
point.
No, I think we're missing the whole point is most of the guys in the league are bad except for a handful of people. And you got to say who's better than whatever. We could rank them that way. Like, that's the thing. Mahomes is awesome. Burrow's awesome. Allen's awesome. Right?
Yep.
Where do you rank Deshaun Watson? He's looked fucking horrible this year.
He's a tough one, but like when Deshaun Watson is at his peak,
yes,
he's top 5. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think the big difference in this conversation that we're having, like you said, you went in with Lionel Hutz and your arguments. You just want everyone, like when you say like top 10 quarterback, you forget that there's 32 quarterbacks. Like there can't be 17 guys in your top 10.
Okay.
That's where it boils down to. Like you think that he has. I think the argument you're saying is that he has top 10 talent, and Rob and I are trying to argue where he's actually at right now versus the league. Anyway.
Oh, okay. I'm just looking at like guys like Andy Dalton and this and that.
Yeah.
Sure, you're talking about the worst quarterbacks in the league.
I'm talking about Jones between like 9 and 12. Like he's fine. He's fine.
9 and 12.
9 and 12.
Yeah.
Man.
Okay, start naming quarterbacks. We will play this game again.
All right,
let's go.
You're about to tell me you're going to take Daniel Jones over Dak Prescott, and then we're going to end this conversation.
Dak Prescott and Herbert and whatever. Those guys. Okay, let's go.
Okay.
Mahomes.
Okay. How about this? Josh Allen. Would you rather have Tua? I mean, he has the concussions, but would you rather have Tua or Daniel Jones? I think the answer is Tua.
It's closer than people think. I will take Tua over him.
Okay, so there's two. But
I think Jones is okay. Yes. Okay. Yes.
Burrow, Lamar.
Yes.
Deshaun Watson.
Yes.
Trevor Lawrence. Patrick Mahomes. Justin Herbert. There's 8 in the AFC.
And then Jones is right next tier.
Jalen Hurts, Dak Prescott, Kirk Cousins, Jared Goff, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady.
Like he could be better than Kirk Cousins.
We're at 16.
Yeah, you're right. You know what? Every week I do this. I like Daniel Jones and I want him to do well.
That's fine, but
he's a great running quarterback. He's gonna work on a couple.
Would you rather have Justin Fields or Daniel Jones?
Justin Fields.
So there's another one. There's 17. We didn't say Kyler Murray.
No, what? Justin Fields' legs. He's still got to work on some things with it. That's close. I think actually that's very close. Don't you?
Sure. I'd rather have Justin Fields.
What do you think, Rob?
If we're talking a project and projecting people out, and you want to talk about lack of weapons, I'd rather take Justin Fields.
Okay, fair enough. I think they're very close.
I would rather roll the dice on Trey Lance than have Daniel Jones long term.
Now, that is straight up horseshit.
I would. I know what my ceiling is with Daniel Jones, and I know where I'm going with him. This is about best case scenario.
Okay.
And I'm not saying that Lance is better. Lance could be absolute dog shit. But I'd rather take that upside.
Frustrate you guys. Every time I play this game, I never win. It's just a horrible game. I don't even know why I bring it up.
You suggested the game.
I do, and I'm the idiot. I know. I'm an absolute moron. Like I got to stop doing this. Yes, you guys are right. Everything's cool.
You're like the guy that they put under cross-examination, and he just spills the beans, and they don't even have to ask him questions.
You'd be surprised, Pizzola. In an interrogation room, I'd never snitch you out, buddy. That's one thing I'm very good at. I'm very good at holding secrets, as friends know. I got so much things in the old vault. I might be bad at ranking quarterbacks, but other than that, I won't sell you down the river.
Okay.
Are we bronze?
Yeah. What are you taking?
Who's up?
You.
Who's up?
You're up.
Yeah, you're up.
Can I ask? Want to play another game?
Well, let's play the game. Sure. As long as it's not quarterback rankings, let's play the game.
Yeah, exactly. Carolina. What do you think?
I took them as my silver pick, so I'm in.
Commies. What do you think?
I don't know. What do you know about Sam Howell? I don't know anything.
I like Sam Howell from North Carolina. Oh, see, I can't even say this again because you guys are going to come back. Very good college quarterback. I don't know what he's going to do in the NFL, but he's very good.
Top 15 quarterback in the NFL at the moment, Sam Howell.
Sam Howell's right. Probably right now he's about 32, but we haven't seen him play. And he'll go climb that ladder pretty quick. Right?
I don't think Sam Howell's 32 right now.
Actually, he's about 45.
But anyways, the point, Sam Howell, I have no idea what he is, but I know what Carson Wentz is, and I know what the downgrade
Sam Howell's going to be way better than Carson Wentz. That's something we can all agree on.
I don't know about that.
Okay. I think he will be. The kid's got skills. I'll take the Bills. The Bills are Carolina. I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills.
Bills -7?
I know the emotional stuff. I'm so glad there were EMTs on the field. Know what the craziest thing about that whole situation was? If that happened, like walking in a park, like he's not around, the fact that it happened in an NFL arena. So we got to say thanks to the to the staff. The Bengals handled it with class. Both organizations, the people of Cincinnati were fantastic. Here's the bottom line: is the Bills got to play a football game this week. I think they get fired up. And to what you guys said, New England. I think Buffalo actually is going to just be very ultra focused. I know they have the heavy hearts, but I think they beat the Patriots by 17. Give me Buffalo as my bronze pick, but I'm very close to taking Carolina as a similar mineral.
Mm-hmm.
Rob?
I'll do the Cam game now. I mean, I'm just looking through the board here. Tennessee's on the short list, which I believe one of you used already, right?
I did.
Yeah, Cam used. What else do we have on the short list here? Detroit.
I wanted to throw the Vikings -7 at you against Nathan Peterman.
Yeah.
So the problem is I played Vikings -1, and it's very difficult for me to advocate for Vikings -7. Now.
Sure. I have Vikings -4, but if I was coming in fresh, I still think I like the 7.
You know what? I probably would too. Like if there's obviously a lot of guesswork involved here, but man,
they're playing. They're gonna play this game, and the Bears aren't.
See these games that we play? They're all difficult. Quarterback rankings, minimizing, narrowing down picks to 3. Nothing's easy.
What about the Jets -1.5?
They're kind of there, but like I wanted the Jets to be an underdog, not like -1.5. Like I don't need.
Can Skylar Thompson score points on this defense?
Skylar Thompson's actually
no. He's no.
Here we go.
He's horrible.
Skylar Thompson, to Cam's credit, looked very good in the
He's
preseason
not
this
that
year.
bad.
He looked good. He looked good on 3 drives against the Vikings. That's it.
He's an NFL quarterback.
No, he's not. There's a reason. There's a reason that if they win, they're in the playoffs, and now they're home underdogs against the shitty Jets.
Skylar Thompson, I'd rather play him than Teddy Bridgewater with a broken thumb.
Well, I mean, of course, Teddy Bridgewater
there you
can't
go.
hold the ball. Of course, I'd rather have a guy that can hold the ball
Teddy
right
Bridgewater's actually been disappointing as a backup.
See,
I expected more from him.
I actually disagree about that. I think that Teddy Bridgewater has actually been very good this season as a backup. Look at who he's had to go against. And he threw the pick 6 last week against the Patriots on a play where he broke his hand. So yeah, probably not the best pass in the world, but he played the Patriots defense, he played the Jets defense, and came in relief against the Bengals. Like those were 3 horrible matchups for him.
Yeah, they were bad matchups. It's interesting. In the new year, we have a lot more venom than hugs on the show here today. And
well, you know what? All hugs led to 0-8, Cam.
That's a good point, Pat. We should be abusing each other. But okay, Rob, can you say this? Skylar Thompson is a 3rd-string quarterback in the right situation, can make some plays. He can maybe win this game.
Sure, he can make some plays, and he can maybe win the game. I hope they win. Well, actually,
there's no ranking of him. I'm not saying. I just back in this 3rd-string conversation.
I honestly don't even know who to pick. I've never been at as much of a struggle as I am right now, and I'm just gonna go ahead.
Carolina, Rob.
I'm gonna go ahead and play San Fran -14 against Arizona. I almost never do this, but San Fran throttled the Cardinals on the road or in Mexico, whatever. The thing was Mexico game, 38-10. Like, I'm going to just lay it with San Fran. I'm not even going to think about it. I think the 49ers are going to just
prop bet
the Cardinals.
I would actually make a bet the San Francisco 49ers defense scores more in this game than the Cardinals offense does.
I would not be surprised. Listen, I mean, full, transparency for the audience here. I have not bet the San Francisco 49ers this week, but I'm looking at the board right now. I think it's the best of the remaining plays. 49ers. Throttle the Cardinals.
Now, you don't think that Mr. Blau is potentially a top 20 quarterback in the NFL?
Well, Blau at his peak might actually be top 10, as we saw on Thanksgiving a few years back.
I deserve that. David Blau is like in the 50s. He's not good.
You know what? I would almost rather have David Blau than Skylar Thompson, I think, for this game this week.
Yes. I actually want to know why. Because Blau's played more football. That's all. When he was with Detroit, he got a lot of reps in, right?
Yeah, and he didn't look awful last week.
He was okay. I cashed a passing yards over on David Blau last week. I think it was like 159.5 or something ridiculously low like that. But yes, I don't know how he's going to move the ball on this defense. Like I don't know how the
49ers are killers, man. That guy's I feel bad for Mr. Blau because he's going to be like eating grass, dirt. Like the 49ers are relentless. Like he's done.
These games matter, man. Like Shanahan can win Coach of the Year.
No, we need Dayball to win Coach of the Year, so Pat wins money.
I know what we need. The recency bias for the vote. Like Sirianni, by the way, who I think should win Coach of the Year, has almost no chance anymore because of the way that the Eagles closed out the season.
Well, it's like the Hurts MVP, right? He doesn't play a couple times, and like people are anointing him Mahomes. I think Joe Burrow, in my opinion, deserves a lot of love.
I don't.
What he's done with Cincinnati.
I don't understand how Hurts can get hurt, take himself out of the MVP.
Yeah.
They look like trash in the 2 games he doesn't play.
Good call, Pat.
Shouldn't that make him more of the MVP?
You know what? That's great. After my horrible takes on backups and third stringers, we agree 100%. It's not his fault. And
they did score 34 on Dallas.
Listen, Burrow's in that conversation. The fact that Mahomes is like minus 600 is comical to me. Burrow had a wicked year too, and that's all I'm saying.
You know what? It's going to turn into one of these things where
popularity contest.
No, well, it's not necessarily a popularity contest. Is that Mahomes probably should have won this award 3 times in the past 4 years, and he only won it once. That with all things being equal, there's a chance to get him another one.
Okay.
It's like those LeBron MVPs. Like
anyone
LeBron should have won like 9 MVPs.
If anyone other than Mahomes gets a first place vote, they should be put on a rocket directly to the sun, in my opinion.
I'm going to be on that rocket. Me and Joe Burrow. Take me to space. I'm joking.
The Chiefs without Mahomes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just saying there's like minus. I'm just looking at the line, Pizzola. That's all.
I think they're missing a 0 at the end of Mahomes' number.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Yeah. I'm not even going to argue anymore. I'm out of it. Out of energy.
Where do we rank Patrick Mahomes in the top? You think he's in the top 16, Cam?
Is he the best quarterback in the NFL?
Yes.
I said yes.
So, no, serious question. What is the Chiefs' record without Patrick Mahomes?
They're not making the playoffs.
They're like, who's the? It's Chase Daniels.
Is it Chase Daniels still?
Like they're competing for first overall pick if Chase Daniels their quarterback. That's the difference.
Okay, who's Cincinnati's backup?
Who's Cincinnati's backup?
It's not Kyle.
We never see him anymore.
Is it one of the Allen quarterbacks?
It's Brandon Allen. It's Brandon Allen.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll tell you something. Yeah, you want this? Take this damn hot take. If Brandon Allen was the quarterback of the Cincinnati Bengals, they would have a worse record than Chase Daniel and the damn Kansas City Chiefs. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. You know that's fact.
Well, in fairness, last time we saw Brandon Allen, it led to them getting Joe Burrow.
He sucks.
And Jamar Chase. So he's a really valuable.
Worse than Daniel.
He might actually be the best backup in the league. He played, they got Joe Burrow because of it. Then Joe Burrow got hurt, he played again, they got Jamar Chase out of it.
It's true.
You guys love to poke the bear, but Pat, you know, when you give a guy steak for Christmas, it's just I'd let you hit me over the head with a paddle right now.
I do have one question for you guys. In the Rookie of the Year market, Ken Walker is like the favorite, but he's barely a favorite. I don't think Garrett Wilson has the numbers. Who's the second favorite? Kenny Pickett's 16-1. If Pittsburgh makes the playoffs, could he win Rookie of the Year?
Yes,
he can.
Because it's a very narrative-based award. I bet. You know, the sad thing is, I talked about it early in the show. 4 or 5 weeks ago, I bet Steelers to make the playoffs and Pickett Rookie of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year. It's the exact same price now. Like I think he was 20-1 at that point, but it's a very narrative-based award. Like if they get into the playoffs, especially like imagine he just leads them to a comeback victory as well, like he's done the last couple of weeks, like a final drive touchdown. Totally can see it, especially since he's a quarterback, 100% live, in my opinion.
So how do the Steelers get in? They have to win, and the Jets have to win, right?
They have to win. The Jets have to win. The Patriots have to lose to the Bills.
So let's see: Bills, Steelers, Jets. Anything with the Jags with them? Like does Tennessee?
The Jags can get a wild card if the Steelers also lose.
Okay, so
you know what the problem is that scenario with Pittsburgh sounds pretty damn good, and I'm taking Cleveland as my silver pick.
Well, here's the thing. If you want to hedge out of it, like the only way that Kenny Pickett could potentially win that award is if Pittsburgh makes the playoffs, right? I think we agree on that.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Bills, Steelers, Jets money line as a 3-play parlay is plus 300. Or you can just bet Kenny Pickett 16-1.
Yeah, I would take the. Well, I mean, it's not a foregone conclusion that Pickett wins if they get in, right?
Yes.
No, but I mean that. What I'm saying is that if you parlay those three things together, it's only 3-1. Like that's a somewhat likely scenario.
Yeah, I agree.
It's
I mean,
not
look at it. They're both underdogs. The Patriots and Dolphins are underdogs this week.
Yeah.
Like that. I think that's a good bet. I honestly do. Because Kenneth Walker missed time too, right? It's not like it's just like, oh, he's got good. I love Kenneth Walker. He's great. Like first carry, open field last week, looks fantastic. But so much of this award is narrative driven. So much of it.
I'm going to take Buffalo -7 with you, Cam.
Thank you, Pat.
I like that.
I got a Navage for Christmas. That thing's blowing my nose up, man. I don't even know how to use that thing properly. I thought it was going to help.
So you blast the water in one nose, it comes out the other.
I know, like I'm swallowing it. Anyway, like I got a sleep machine, so I'm like I got real problems. But anyway, I got to learn how to run this thing. I think the product's fine. I just haven't really figured it out yet. Have you guys tried it?
No,
I've done something before where I blasted water up one nostril. And
well, this thing's battery operated, Rob. Like it goes pretty good. Like
it worked for me. It worked.
It gives you like it's not just hey, how you doing? Like it's
no. It's a punch. Yeah.
It feels like when the water goes to your brain, it's like oh man,
well,
like you're as you say, Rob, in orbit.
Yes.
Yeah.
That will do it on the Pat Mayo Experience. Week 18 Best Bet Show. We ain't going anywhere for the playoffs, though. We'll have our best bets each of those weeks, so you're not going to miss us just yet. Reminder to play in the One and Done Golf Tournament for Rob, for Cam. A reminder, again, to catch us on the Hammer.bet for all your sports betting needs. Check out the Forward Progress channel on the Hammer HQ on YouTube. Link is down in the description, so you can get more of your faves, all right? Smash a like on the way out. I'm Pat Mayo. I'll see you next time.
Pat Mayo Experience! Experience!